Hello and welcome to the very first Arsenal Nation Live of 2020. First and foremost, before we get started, I wanted to wish all the Gooners a very happy new year and hopefully under a new era, under Mikel Arteta, our new manager, we will be celebrating come the end of this season. Joining me in the studio ahead of this huge game against Manchester United, which is still a huge game, it always is all-round funny man and content creator, Joel Bayer from Cheeky Sport. Hello, mate.
Hey, I'm really serious today. I'm serious about the win. Come on, you Gunners.
And sat next to you is former Gooner turned top analyst now, Adrian Clark. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good. I'm not very funny, though. So, you know, that's the difference. Yeah.
Balance it out between the two of you. It's fine. Right, let's go straight into the team news then. You can see it along the side of the screen. And I think the big story that a lot of people are reacting to on social media is, of course, the four players that we haven't seen play together that much at all, especially from the start, in Ozil, Pepe, Aubameyang and Lacazette, Adrian.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Really exciting. Look at that.
Yeah.
Love that. Finally. We have seen it before in flashes, not enough, obviously, but this is what the supporters pay the big bucks to come out and see live in action. And there's absolutely no reason, in my opinion, Nick, why they can't work, why they can't click together. But what I think is crystal clear now under Mikel Arteta is that talent alone won't get you enough, won't get you into the team. You're going to have to work exceptionally hard first and foremost, and then if you do that, your skill will come through. I'm excited to see how they work together.
Is there a part of you that's a little bit worried, though, that because we've got the extra man kind of in the offensive side of the game tonight, that it might leave a little bit missing at the back?
No, not especially as a home game. Look,
I was.
Yeah, true. Look,
I was.
I think you've got to be bold in these kind of games. Yeah, okay. Sometimes you can have the extra defensive player and it works for you, but sometimes it can really limit you, especially when you're on home turf and you're looking to create things. I would rather have more attacking talent on the pitch in home games, but ask that front four to defend as a team. And I think that if those front four can defend properly, as well as causing problems going the other way, we'll be just fine.
And you're excited about it, I'm guessing, Joel?
Yeah, I am. Don't get me wrong, I was a little bit worried because I understand why Nelson was playing. Well, unless it's for training reasons or other reasons that we don't know. But I believe that I think he offers a little bit more cover for Maitland-Niles, who we all know is not his original position anyway. But I think you're right, you do have to be bold in some of these games. I mean, last week we were bold against Chelsea and we conceded a draw, but it shows that Mikel Arteta is about attacking football. He did say, right, Nick, he wants us to have the ball and he wants the ball in their opposition as much as possible. So I understand, and it's exciting for the viewers to watch.
Well, I'm excited to see what the four of them can do together tonight on the carpet out there. I've just had a look at it as well. It's looking pristine, may I add. Right, well, our new head coach's first home game was a bit of a up-and-down affair, it has to be said. And we're going to have a look at some general analysis that you've been saying on social media. We can see here from Gunner Pride, hugely encouraging from Arsenal and Arteta. The change in attack is obvious. Defence has been better too, although that goal was poor to concede. End product in the final third has always been the problem today. Can't waste that many chances. Another one here from the Divine Beard. Oh, nice. Lots of positives. High press, good fast transitions from defence to attack, decent possession. Negatives, silly defensive errors costing us, and Pepe needs to start. Well, you got your wish tonight. Now Arsenal saying positives from today. Held the lead for 80 minutes and played exceptionally well in the first half. Ozil was brilliant. The pressing and energy by the team was the best I've seen all season. Torreira, really good in his natural position. Can't blame Leno, he'll bounce back. So lots of different opinions there, but we're going to see some action from the game. I believe that we're going to analyse, and this is obviously Aubameyang's great header. It has to be said. I thought it was a really good header because it was slightly behind him.
It was emphatic, wasn't it? It was a good set piece routine. This is classic Arsenal near post flick on. Going to miss Chambers, I think, in those kind of areas from set plays, but this came on the back of a really fast start, didn't it? And I think that That was so noticeable. Just the energy right from the kickoff.
Well, it's noticeable on social media as well. It's funny you say that, because it's exactly what I was going to say, and exactly what the Arsenal fans have been talking about, that fast start. Arsenal fast start really rattled Chelsea. That's the hunger I'm talking about. You have to hit the game running from the very first and manage it towards the end. You can't be playing catch-up every match day. And Charles Watts says, good start from Arsenal. Nelson heavily involved down the right. Really good work rate from everyone in the early stages. Pressing high and fast. Arteta will be happy. So, Adrian, how important is it for us to get back to setting the tone of the game ourselves? Because, you know, they've hit the nail on the head there. You don't want to be playing catch-up.
I think it's important. I do. I think your front players set the tone as well often. And what I loved about the last performance, even though we lost, was Aubameyang. I mean, I've never seen him defend from the front with as much hunger, as much appetite. And it did set the tone for everyone behind him to follow suit.
Especially in the second half. I saw him left back. If he's doing left back covering, no one else has an excuse to not defend.
Yeah, no, we just needed to score more than one goal. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, the way that Arteta wants us to play, with this high energy pressing all over the pitch, we're not quite fit enough yet at the moment. And I believe it will take weeks, if not months, to get fully up to speed with that tactic, which means in the first half tonight, I think we have to really take our chances.
Yeah. Well, as the game went on as well, it has to be said that, you know, Arsenal were a little wasteful. Chelsea managed to turn the screw a bit, and this was picked up on social media as well. Young Gooner there saying Arsenal so wasteful in the final third. Got another one saying, how many chances do you need to score one goal or kill off a match? Arsenal have been known to be wasteful in front of goal, and today they showed that side of their game. Lots of opportunities end to end. Arsenal have been wasteful all game. We have a great build-up but no final product. How many chances do you need to score one goal? I've already read that one. Yeah. But essentially, the point we're trying to make has been very, very wasteful. You can see more tweets.
I'll be honest, I didn't think we had that many clear-cut chances. No. I thought the performance was good.
We can see some of them here, actually.
Yeah, look, that was good. It was a good breakaway from Nelson on the right. But I thought the one disappointment, actually, was that we didn't create enough clear-cut chances for some of the quality of the passing and the movement. I really liked the crisp football. It was fast-paced. It rattled Chelsea. But we didn't really test Kepa often enough. I mean, Kepa is having a difficult time, but it was a relatively easy game for him, John.
I think when you look at it, I think in the Bournemouth game, I agree. I think we had a lot of chances. I wasn't particularly too pleased. I support them, but I don't think Saka's crossing was the best that game, and I don't think Reece Nelson had the best of games when it came to the final third. I think at this game, you know, even when we didn't have the ball, I was arguing online with the guys, we played well. Just because you don't have the ball doesn't mean you haven't done a good job. And I'm totally with you, Adrian. I don't think we had as many clear-cut chances. I mean, maybe this...
Look at this, look. We just lost it on our monitor there, but Aubameyang winning the ball back inside the opposition penalty box. You know, that is the kind of attitude Arteta wants to see.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll see a lot more of that. Well, one man who was public enemy number one here at the Emirates was Jorginho, because he managed to get the equalising goal. But there's a little bit of controversy around that, because he shouldn't have been on the pitch, really. You know, and we can see here lots of people fuming about it. How did Jorginho escape the red card there? It was a second yellow, but obviously to go on to a red, another one here. Jorginho deserved the red several times. And then should have been a red card for Jorginho. The result would have been very different. Got a feel for Arsenal. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but shouldn't VAR have checked Jorginho's foul for a possible red card? I know the tackle itself doesn't warrant a red card, but you can see it here. It's a pullback. It's definitely a second yellow. And the reason VAR didn't get involved is because VAR only checks straight reds, right?
I mean, it's awful refereeing, isn't it?
Well, I'm just not even sure anymore. I am a fan, and I do believe that we need VAR. But I'm not like you. I'm not very sure when it implies, sometimes when it doesn't imply. We know that it does what it does, but there's a confusion with the build-up. That's where I don't think they always make the right decisions. There's been loads of games. There's the Liverpool game. There was a game yesterday that I was watching. I just don't get it, man.
No, I think it was a really poor refereeing decision. Torreira, I think, got yellow card for the exact same thing. A number of the players did during the game. There was 9 yellow cards in the match. But how can that not be a yellow card? But look, from the free kick, I also, by the way, Jorginho dived to win the free kick. I don't even remember it. Lacazette had his hand around his waist, flings himself to the floor. So he's involved everywhere you look. Yeah.
We're seeing the Jorginho goal here, actually.
Yeah,
so Bernd Leno.
it was just one of those moments where you just thought it's such bad luck for Arsenal that he wasn't red carded, because I think most players would have been in that situation.
It changes the game, doesn't it? But we're also just to talk through what we're seeing on the screen. We're seeing Bernd Leno's tweet here saying very tough day, but I have to look forward.
It's the footballer thing to do, though, isn't it? Like,
but it was nice that
it's nice
that the replies we can see the replies here. The top three replies to the Instagram post. First one from Reece Nelson, then Socrates, and then Aubameyang, our captain. Yeah, all on there. You know,
no, it's important, man. When you look at today's football, like that was really nice to see, and we all know that he doesn't deserve it. I do also think it's the football thing to do. Got to go on social media.
Yeah,
but I
wouldn't have minded someone on the pitch maybe picking him up and saying chin up, because he was on his own a little bit, left to his own devices. But it's one of those, probably everybody knows that Bernd Leno knows that he's made a real mess up there. It's just one of those things. He saved us a lot of points this season. So I think we can definitely let him off the hook for that one.
Yeah, it happens, doesn't it? Adrian, do you think we were naive to be caught on the break and maybe we should have just settled for the point?
Personally, no. I don't think there's too much wrong with our shape here. It's this moment here. Mustafi's he's with him. He's got to engage. He's got to hold up.
He didn't know whether to go or hold. Or
he can easily engage and hold him up or make a foul inside that half. He backs off and backs off.
It was just poor all over, wasn't it?
And inside the box as well. I don't know if we'll see the second replay here. Look, he should already have dealt with him inside the opposition half. So here, Willian gets it. Keep your eye on Mustafi here.
He looks like he's wandering off.
He jumps to his right there at the exact wrong moment.
Lots of talk on social media, and there's some tweets here. In fact, I'll read these out first, and then I'll make my next point to you. We've got a tweet from James saying that second goal was Arsenal all over this season. Everyone bomb forward and waste the chance, then get caught on the break. Got one here from P. Chan saying good performance for the first half, but energy level dropped in the second. Bad response from the keeper that led to the equaliser. The attack failed and counter-attack from Chelsea. The defenders caught on the back foot again instead of challenging the opposition with.
It's happened all season, Nick. We've backed off.
Happened a lot. And then Taylor says there are definite improvements, but defensively Arsenal are too vulnerable. It's going to take some transfers and time before Arteta gets the results he wants. The point I was going to make to you, Adrian, and maybe you can get involved with this as well, Joel, that feel free to jump in.
All right.
It's lots of people online have been talking about Mustafi should have engaged and made a cynical foul if he needed to. Is that what you would like to see a little bit more of? Because Manchester City do that quite a lot.
Yeah, I pointed it out in the breakdown that I did of the Manchester City game. Pointed out a lot of the tactical fouling that City did to cut off our attacks. It's something we don't do. We're a little bit nice in that respect. I wouldn't even say he has to foul there. Just he was with him.
Make a decision.
Just hold him up and slow the move down. But by retreating, it just allows him to run the whole length of the pitch. Look, it's a mistake, and I don't feel that it came on the back of naive shape or that we were too gung-ho. And what do we want? At one apiece? Do we want to sit on it and say, hang on, oh yeah, we'll take the point here, or do we want to go and try and win the game? I know that you think, Joel, that we.
No, I think it's a good move. I think the fact that we've showed positivity, this is very important for us. I reckon we need to start doing this a bit more, and I was happy to see it. But I also believe that the guy is suffering from a lack of confidence, and I've been saying it for a while. When you've got someone that's going and doesn't, he's played enough international football to know, and club football to know what to do. But I just think he's at a stage where he's doubting himself.
It's really important, Nick, for Arteta to find a central defensive partnership. We haven't really had one this season because of performance levels. And I think it's one of the most important parts of the pitch where you need a partnership. And all of the players have been in and out. They've all been dropped at various points.
Dropped, injured,
and I think that Joel's right, that there's a slight lack of confidence, not just with him, with most of the guys.
Well, speaking of, players, it's a perfect time to talk about it, really, isn't it? January, transfer window has swung open, and we can see some tweets now about the business that Arsenal could potentially do, I guess, or the business that people would like to see done. Bill Turner says, I sure hope Arsenal are going to give Mikel Arteta some funds to hugely improve this defence and midfield in January. Can't leave it until the summer transfer window. Bravo says, if ever a manager needed cash in the January transfer window, it's Arteta. With a couple of shrewd acquisitions, I genuinely think top four is in reach. Truly amazing turnaround in less than a few weeks. And Alf says, says, on a more positive note, Arsenal look a lot more promising and the sequences of play seem more creative under Arteta. I trust him. Hopefully, some January transfer activity is done. So there's lots of people out there talking about transfers and stuff already, as there always is when January rolls around. But both of you, Joel, you can answer this first, I guess. Give us a realistic signing that you'd like to see us make if there's a player that springs to mind.
I was talking about Glenn Kamara earlier on. He's been fantastic for Rangers. I mean, some of these players under Steven Gerrard, you saw what they were doing against Celtic the other day. There's some serious players. And Kamara, he used to play for us as well. I don't know if he will be that expensive because at the end of the day, you would be grabbing him from the Scottish Premier League. I feel like, for me, that's something realistic. Or a few loans, you know. I want to get excited over the January transfer window, but...
When was the last loan that was successful?
That's
we've had a few that have flopped, really, haven't we?
But it's the only thing we can afford, you know, if I'm honest with you. Because if you're looking at players, people are saying things like, oh, I know we're not talking about Man United here, Pogba might go in January. Do you know how much that's going to cost the team to grab him in January? You're not going to get him for a cheap price. And it's the same with Arsenal. If we want to grab anyone in January, you're going to have to spend the big bucks. You know, it's not like it was back in the day. I sound old, innit?
Yeah, you do a little bit. Player from you, Adrian?
Oh, I like the centre-half, Upamecano at Leipzig. I think he's 21, he's athletic, he's just the kind of player we need. I know that we've been tracking him for a long time, maybe came close before. I'd like to see us pursue him, but I think we'd have to pay top dollar. I also like, could we raid Leicester City for a couple of players? I would take Ndidi or Tielemans. I think that those two guys would improve us massively, especially if we were to lose anyone in central midfield. So, yeah, Tielemans is the box-to-box guy that we could probably do with. Yeah. But Ndidi, for my money, is probably the best defensive midfielder in the division. Could we go big? I think we'd have to go huge to get him, unfortunately.
He's worth it, though. I've seen him for a few years. I just think I look at him and I go, I don't understand why.
Well, he's only 22. You know, if you spend big, you'll get your money's worth. I think with Ndidi.
Joel, come on, empty your pockets, mate.
Me? You know? Mate, you've got. Let's just leave it there.
we need all the money we can get. Empty your pockets.
Let's just leave it there.
Right, we're going to have a look now at 5 January signings we've made in the past, and then I want you both to mark these or put them in some kind of order. Top 3, I reckon. Okay. So let's have a look at these names. Woo. Well, that's quite a good one straight away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Was that Thierry Henry? Might as well be.
And these are all goals against Manchester United, by the way. Andre Arshavin.
Yeah, he was pretty tasty back in the day. One of my favourite characters of recent times, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Rambo? No, Monreal, sorry.
Monreal. You know what? He come good, man. He definitely come good, man.
Yeah, no, he's a reliable performer, isn't he?
He came good at the end, I reckon, for me.
Here we go.
Theo Walcott.
Oh, it was a January one, was it?
Was that
from Southampton?
Okay.
Yeah. And then last but not least,
Adebayor. Wow, he was a terrific player, wasn't he? Obviously, he went and spoilt it, didn't he, a little bit when he went to Manchester
City. Top 3.
Oh. I'll be honest with you, I'll say it straight. It's got to be Aubameyang, Adebayor, and...
Arshavin.
Yeah,
fantastic
right.
player.
Right, OK.
Yeah, top
yeah,
7.
nothing against Theo or Nacho, but yeah, I would go for exactly the same.
You're both in agreement?
Yeah, Oba's the best one.
Yeah,
I mean, look, we paid a lot of money for Oba, but you look at the return. I think it was almost a guarantee.
No. I was hoping there was going to be a big argument between you two. You disagree hugely.
But think about it as well with Oba. His strike rate is amazing, but he's doing it in a pretty average Arsenal team by modern day standards. This isn't a strong team at the moment. Imagine him in some of the teams of yesteryear. I think he'd be scoring. You know, his tally would be at least a third higher.
You know how people on social media love to do those tables that if Aubameyang didn't play or if VAR wasn't there or whatever. Yeah. I wonder where we would be in the table if we didn't have Aubameyang.
Don't think about it.
I don't want to think about that, but I do know that at the last season in the Premier League he had missed the most clear-cut chances out of the strikers. Not like it was like a bad thing, but imagine he was still a joint Golden Boot winner.
Yeah.
So
we need to be more creative. I'm telling you now, if we start to find our creative juices, which we haven't had for a long time, under Unai Emery, I felt that was a real problem for us, carving out good chances. If we can find that ingredient, that missing ingredient, I think he can go through the roof. He can win the Golden Boot on his own this season in a relatively average Arsenal side.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He took a share of it last season, didn't he?
Yeah, it's true.
I heard he got the toe section, you know.
Ah.
Boom, boom.
Good one.
Dad jokes all night. Right, anyway, our opponents tonight are Manchester United, who, a little bit like Chelsea, actually, have been a bit inconsistent. They've been a bit up and down with their form, and it's been noticed by their fans. But before that, actually, let's have a look at their results. Even though they've not had a terrible time in December, because I think they've only lost or dropped points against Everton in 1-1, and then they lost against Watford. But aside from that, they've had a pretty solid December. But before that, they were struggling a little bit. So coming into this game, there was quite a few tweets from people, Man United fans, who were quite upset about this. We can see here what's going on with Man United. Totally inconsistent. Maybe it's the cold weather. I mean, it rains a lot in Manchester. We've got one here from Wilfried Zaha. I mean, he's probably got a vendetta against them anyway, hasn't he? Man United is also more inconsistent when it comes to these small teams. Yeah, very true. They are struggling. And then here, the stress that comes with being a loyal Man United fan. I don't know how many theories I have to come up with to validate our poor performances. But in other news, this young king here is carrying the whole of United on his back. Marcus Rashford, of course, is in the picture there. So
I don't think he is.
No,
I don't think it's just him.
Yeah, you got Greenwood, you got Daniel James has been amazing. You've got Martial's back on form now.
no mention of Jesse Lingard at the minute.
No, he's not had a great season, Jesse Lingard.
Big up my guy,
It's
Jesse
not
Lingard.
just the Rashford show, but yeah, they have been inconsistent.
What have you made of their form, Adrian?
I like what they're trying to achieve, actually. They're setting out quite a clear identity under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a little bit like Mikel Arteta. They want to play fast football, but theirs is more of the counter-attack variety. They know they haven't got brilliant ball players in the middle of the park. You've got Fred, you've got Matic, McTominay. You know, good, solid players, but they're not the type that will dominate the ball. What they've got up top is unbelievable pace, great incisiveness, real penetration, and in Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, they've got finishers as well. So I like what I see from United. Their problem is that every now and again they have a no-show. Watford away, Newcastle away, Bournemouth away. Hopefully tonight it'll be another one of these ones where they just don't turn up.
They've still done well though, Adrian. They've got, if you look at, I was doing my own analysis, they got six wins in the last 8 games. So there is inconsistency, but they've shown that they can really smash teams. Look what they did to you. Want to talk about Newcastle? They did a job against them recently. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they beat Spurs recently, beat City at the Etihad.
That's some big games, you know. Like
that was a stunning performance. If they play like tonight, like they did at the Etihad Stadium, then Arsenal will have to be incredible to win the game.
Well, it leads me on to the next point nicely, actually, because they seem to turn up against the top 6 and then they struggle a little bit against lesser teams. And we can see this Man United team is mad. Everybody can't be in form at the same time. When the striker is in form, the midfield is out of form. When the defence is in form, the striker's out of form. Wow. Here we've got when the teams sit back to defend deep against Manchester United, they find it hard to break them down, mostly because they don't have an elite playmaker to thread an intricate pass to their forwards. And then Man United against the Big 6 versus Man United against the rest. That's still one of the worst statues I think I've ever seen.
at least it's not being burnt like Zlatan one.
That is a good point there about them struggling a little bit against the teams that sit off. Now, Unai Emery might have sat off in this game had he still been in charge here and looked for us to plan the counter. Yeah. But I don't see Mikel Arteta doing that. I think he'll take the bull by the horns. Yeah. It will leave us open at times, but he who dares, I think, will be the policy.
I'm excited for it.
I remember what happened last time we attacked, you know? Jesse Lingard came and banged in a couple, two quick ones.
Jesse Lingard, I mean, he's struggling a little bit, like we've already said. So, you know, hopefully that run will continue. But, Joel, do you think this rivalry between the two clubs is as intense as it used to be?
I think for the fans it is. I think maybe to the other Premier League teams and stuff like that, it's probably not as what it was before. But I think to the fans online, you know, it's no doubt that Arsenal and Man United have the two biggest online fan bases, etc. And yeah, you know, it still is a big game. You can't. There's just some games that it is what it is, and those two teams made the Premier League, so that's why it's still.
Yeah, it actually makes me feel a bit sad, like seeing it now. Hopefully tonight will be a cracking game, and both these teams have the potential, I think, to grow into really good Arsenal teams, Manchester United teams. But compared to what it was, Joe, you were probably only a young boy.
Oh, mate, I was.
Yeah, like the standard of football between Wenger's Arsenal and Ferguson's United and the pace it was played at was just, it's almost like a different sport to what we're seeing right now. It actually makes me feel a bit sad thinking that we've lost that rivalry, because I loved it.
The interest in the game, though, it has to be said, you know, just to, you know, give the viewers a peek behind the curtain, the interest in the game is still huge. The press room here tonight is absolutely packed. There was nowhere to sit for me to have my dinner. Outrageous, you know, because people are sitting doing work on laptops. So there is still a lot of international and, you know, national interest in this game, and the rivalry between fans is still huge. Now, Adrian, you were talking a few moments ago about the United front three, dangerous, potent front three, and this hasn't gone unnoticed, obviously, from United fans and more, because on social media, lots of them getting excited for the Manchester United's front three. Now, that's exciting and lovely to see from Toby. Got another one here from Sahil who says, you know, it's a good day for Man United when the three forwards score a goal in the first half. And that was for Boxing Day there. So how do we go about stopping this Manchester United front three tonight?
It's a good question. It really is. Well, I think the plan will be to press again, like we did against Chelsea. And the idea there is if you press well enough, then the players won't have time to look up and pick out the good quality passes forward for the front three. So you're going to affect the service into them by pressing them hard. That'll be the game plan. It's when we get tired. That's the issue. And I think what we might need to do is, say, from the hour mark onwards, if we're starting to flag, then we need to find a plan B, which we didn't really have in the last game. And then maybe, especially if we're in the lead, then maybe drop off a little bit and sit deeper and press from a lower block, just to make sure we don't leave that space in behind. Because if you press and don't do it well enough, they will destroy us tonight, because they'll have time to look up and pick the right passes for those guys to run onto. We've got to be really careful tonight.
I agree, and if you look at, you're right with the last game, it was more to do with heart, wasn't it? Because it was Arteta's first game, and
exactly.
you know, at home, etc. So, yeah, no, I agree with you there.
So Christmas, to move on, Christmas is officially over. We're moving on to In Case You Missed It. That's why we're talking about Christmas randomly. I should have made that point. But we have done Christmas, finished. There's not even a Christmas tree in my house because I go to my parents' house, to be honest. But you guys, have you taken your lights down yet? Take your trees down?
Literally did it before I caught the train here today.
Really?
Yeah. Took everything down, lobbed it on the patio outside. It's quite sad, really, isn't it?
No, mine's staying until Valentine's Day, mate.
What?
That is mess around.
That's bad luck.
Nah, not for me, mate.
He's hoping to get lucky on Valentine's Day, maybe. Who knows? We thought we'd bring you one more In Case You Missed It with a Christmas theme, because Real Betis threw stuffed animals on the pitch during their game last week to be collected and given to children in need. So well done to Real Betis and their fans. A really, really nice thing to do.
Oh, that's awesome, isn't it? What a great idea. I've never seen that done.
It's wicked to see it as well. There was lots of videos on social media of just all these, like, cuddly toys flying down.
Well, I guess it has to be soft toys. You couldn't really chuck other types of toys because they'd break. So, yeah, that made sense. Good idea. Well played, Betis.
If we do something like that here ever, we've got to get Gunnosaurus to kind of, like, parachute in at the end.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be the perfect end to it. Right, next, it's all about the 10-year challenge. I don't know if you've seen these because it's a new year. There's lots of these 10-year challenges floating around on social media.
New decade, Nick.
I saw yours, Nick. I loved it.
The less said about mine, the better. Where was yours?
Man. I did it like, I put my favourite video of the decade instead.
Where was yours? That's outrageous. Right, well, there's been a few floating around from the club. As you imagine, players love getting involved with things like this, so we can have a look at a few of the 10-year challenges from them. Look at this. The thing is, he looks exactly the same.
He really does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Look at him.
Played well, by the way, in the last game, Maitland-Niles.
Really
I thought it was a step up from him.
How small was he?
Ainsley Maitland-Niles there.
Danielle.
So Dan Carter, we've got here, the Arsenal women.
I mean,
Love her.
Yeah, she doesn't look too different, does she?
Yeah.
I wonder if she gave, like, the Arsenal women's guys who run the social permission to put that up.
I don't know. I'll ask her later on.
Give her a text. Find out. Right, let's have a look at the next one. He looks different.
Well, he couldn't grow a beard 10 years ago, could
But it's also like his head is like stretched.
Yeah.
His head's way
Maybe
longer.
it's still like that, but that's why he has the hairstyle, bro. Probably. That's mad.
Reece Nelson, there, of course.
he? Yeah, I'm sure 10 years ago he was still highly rated by people at the club. They probably knew about him. It's Kim Little, isn't it?
Yeah, Kim
Wow.
Little.
I saw her in the garage, out
really?
near London Colney recently.
What, the petrol garage?
Yeah, I didn't say anything, but
Really?
Didn't want to fanboy her.
No,
too
I didn't want
much,
to fanboy, no. Yeah.
And then we've got Emil Smith-Rowe here.
He's got a better hairdo now than he did then.
Yeah.
I reckon.
That was mad.
What
What
do
was
you
he
think?
doing back
Do
then?
you know what I've noticed about these 10-year challenges? It's basically just like you with a rubbish haircut. That's kind of what seems to happen.
Wow, look at Joe
him there.
Willock. He's did it, isn't
Joe. Look at what
He's beaten Joe Willock, right? I've interviewed him for Arsenal Nation, and he's so smiley, and you can see it there in both pictures, just beaming.
He's always been smiling.
Yeah.
He's tall now, but he
Yeah.
doesn't look like he was that tall when he was sort of 10 or 11.
Way, she's one of her own.
Hey.
Yeah, Leah Williams.
And last but not least, let's have a look.
My favourite kids.
Oh, there it is. Classic.
I loved it.
Did it take 10 years to grow the old pineapple?
It took me 10 years to grow
I
the
was going to
stubble
say
on my
something
chin.
about that. You got to look at what's going on down there, mate.
That bit.
Oh, my God.
Look, I can't grow it here, all right?
Oh,
I'm one of those guys. I can't grow any.
Hey,
on
he was
the-
cool then. He's cool now.
He
eh?
looked like he was, that's you straight in college, you know what I mean? Like,
I also look like I haven't eaten for a long time.
listen, we all look the same before, man. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I didn't have the old silver beard 10 years
oh,
ago.
you
I can
didn't?
tell you that, yeah.
The George,
It's
you're
quite
going
sad,
for the
really.
George Clooney for the next 10 years.
I've got to now. There's no
Yeah,
choice, is there?
There's a real bromance going on between you two. I'm loving it.
For
right.
once.
Next up, it's all about Nutmegs. And when Nutmegs has spoken about, Mesut Ozil's name comes up. So Mesut Ozil against Chelsea was at it again. Let's have a look. Megs!
Did the dirty on him.
Love that. Let's see it again. Megs! See you later.
Oh,
Yeah, that was nice. Tamuri couldn't get a grip of him the whole of that first half.
Mesut Ozil. We got a tweet here saying Ozil took that Chelsea player's soul with that nutmeg. Yeah.
Well, they moved him, didn't they? Moved him to right back, and he never really got over it, and then they subbed him. So,
he weren't having
proof's
it.
in the pudding.
but I love Frank for doing that. He really just, if it doesn't work.
It was excellent, yeah. Lampard's tactical call in that Chelsea game completely transformed the game. Yeah, it was a good mix from Mesut. We want more than 45 from him tonight, though. It was good, really good for 45. Let's see if we can get 75, 80 from him tonight.
I thought you meant 45 megs. I was thinking, you're not asking for much. 45 nutmegs, Adrian. That's a hard man to please on the analysis over there. Right, next up, Jersey Bulls won their 20th successive game in the league on Saturday. And things are so easy for them, right, that they broke down in their bus and they actually ran to the ground. This is how easy things are for them. The Jersey Bulls team sprint down the road and across the car park, kick off only an hour late.
Wow,
here. Imagine that. You know,
to them,
well, I say imagine that.
Yeah.
Adrian, you used to play. Have you ever had any
I have actually,
family
yeah, a few
dilemmas?
times, yeah. Especially when I went down into non-league. I remember playing an FA Cup match, important game, up north. We played Blythe Spartans. It was should have taken 4
old
hours,
Blythe
took about
Spartans.
6 hours,
Yeah.
and we had to get changed on the bus. So it was like, right, everyone, get your kit off on the bus. We were about 10 minutes away, no time for a warm-up. So we trotted out off the bus, straight into the dressing rooms, pretty much straight onto the pitch for a 5-minute warm-up, and then we played the game. So yeah, similar story, really.
you win?
We did win.
I was going to say, does that mess you up, though? Because some people, if they don't have this set kind of way of doing things...
I hated warm-ups. I was all over, let's just get on with it. I didn't want to waste my energy.
Wow.
So, but like, it goes to prove that sometimes I hated it when I got there 2 hours before the game. You had too long to think about it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players just like to crack on.
Yeah.
I was definitely one of those.
So it's a little bit like me, actually, with when you do a lot of... It's not the same, can I just point that out right now?
When
but
you played for Arsenal,
No.
those FA Cup games.
When you do TV stuff, a lot of TV stuff, you do rehearsal. I hate it. I like coming in and just doing it because then I know that when people are laughing at my jokes, it's real.
Yeah,
and they're not
it's not-
pretending
it's
to
not-
laugh at a joke they've heard 4 times already.
Ah!
Yeah, you know what I mean? Cheers, nice one. On cue, perfect. Right, finally, if you haven't downloaded the Arsenal Nation podcast yet, why haven't you done so? It's amazing. If you don't believe me, have a little watch of this.
The beauty about Tuesday Club was that everybody thought we used to go out every Tuesday and get absolutely left-handed. And that's not the case, because we went out on Thursdays as well. Basically, what it boiled down to, we used to look at the fixture list and say, right, is there a time where we can have a team bonding session? And it's normally Tony who would look at the fixture list and go, we've got a free week there, and we haven't got a game till the Saturday. So that's cool. We can go out on the Tuesday.
So that's the Arsenal Nation podcast, or Arsenal Nation, the podcast, with me, Jeremy Ali-Adier and Johnny Cochran. That clip that you heard just there is from the episode, the live episode that we did at the Camden Town Brewery with Lee Dixon in front of a live audience. Simon Miller joined us as well, who's been on Arsenal Nation Live quite a few times. The wrestler, if you're not sure who I'm talking about. And if you haven't downloaded the podcast yet, there's loads of cool stories throughout it. You know, obviously, episode 1, it's us getting to know Jeremy Ali-Adier, and he has got some incredible stories about when he first joined Arsenal, because it was a really interesting time when Jeremy joined Arsenal, Joel.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the crossover period between real old school players and kind of Arsene Wenger with the diets and all of that. So he's got some great stories. Leah Williamson as well from the Arsenal women's team, of course. We also were joined by Robert Pires. Have a listen to the podcast. I think it's decent. Joel, you listened to it yet, mate?
Of course, man. Fantastic one with Jeremy Ali-Adier, and I'm looking forward to the others that are coming out.
Yeah, tenors will be in the post. For that. Right, so yeah, download the podcast, check it out. I'm not just saying it because I'm part of it. If you're a Gooner, you'll enjoy it. Right, we're going to have a look at the Premier League scores from the rest of the day now. Let's have a look, see what's been going on. Brighton there managed to get a 1-1 draw against Chelsea. Aston Villa, who were very much in need of a win, managed to get a 2-1 victory at Turf Moor there. Newcastle, disappointing result for them. Leicester beat them 3-0 away from home. Southampton beat Spurs 1-0. It's always lovely to see that, to be honest.
Yeah, brilliant.
Made my day. Great win for Watford there, much needed, as well as they're still in the relegation zone. 2-1 against Wolves, and a good Wolves side. Manchester City managed to hold on to beat Everton 2-1. 1-1 there in East Anglia as Norwich took on Crystal Palace. And then look at that result for West Ham United. Especially, you know, as they were struggling, West Ham sacked their manager, Pellegrini, got in David Moyes, 4-0 victory against Bournemouth. That right there is well and truly new manager bounce, Joel.
I was going to say, new manager bounce, new manager's in. He knows the club. People want to fight for their positions. I predicted it on the Cheeky Sport Insta.
All right, OK.
Yeah.
Speaking of predictions, what are you saying today, mate? Come on.
2-1, Arsenal, all day long. Scorers, you've got to be looking at Aubameyang, and I'm going to go for Pepe as well.
There you go. You heard it here first. 2-1 from Cheeky Sport. Joel, right, make sure you keep listening because we're about to bring you commentary. And I feel like it's only right we get out to our commentary team now. He didn't even realise he'd gone because we're so slick. Adrian Clark's up there with Dan Roebuck. All yours, guys.
Many thanks to Nick and to Joel. So will it be a roaring start to the 20s for Arsenal? We will find out. This is the first game of the new decade, of course. And it may well be a new year, but it's an old foe who's in town in the shape of Manchester United. If you've been enjoying Arsenal Nation ahead of kickoff and you want to continue to listen to the live audio commentary, if you've been listening on Facebook or watching, then you have to head to the Arsenal app or indeed the Arsenal website to continue to do so. We're 3 or 4 minutes away from kickoff. We mentioned, Adrian, that it's a new decade, of course, but Arsenal with the same old problems maybe over the course of the last few games. Mikel Arteta, of course, has come in just 2 games in charge. A 1-1 draw against Bournemouth and, of course, the defeats at the hands of Chelsea here last time out. But in that 180 minutes, have you seen signs maybe that we can expect something different, something better into 2020, or is it still too early, really, to make any sort of assessment?
Well, there's a lot of work to do. I think that much is fair to say. The players have had a lot of bad habits for a number of years now, and not months, years, really. And there's a lot to fix. But I've been hugely encouraged by what I've seen so far across 180 minutes. He's getting the little things right, and the tempo, the tactics. I like what I see, but it's not going to be a quick fix, I'm afraid.
Well, let's just remind you of the teams once again. It's been discussed already. The teams have emerged from the tunnel here at the Emirates Stadium. 4 changes for the Gunners. And Arsenal line up as follows, with Bernd Leno, of course, in goal, a back four from left to right of Kolasinac, who comes in for Saka, David Luiz, Socrates, who comes in for Callum Chambers, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles over on that right-hand side. Torreira and Granit Xhaka, of course, in midfield. Xhaka, who comes back after missing the game against Chelsea. Aubameyang left, Ozil in behind Lacazette, and Nicola Pepe starting over on that right-hand side. Interesting that Nicola has come in here. There's been an awful lot of talk about him, why he hasn't started games for not just Mikel Arteta, but for Freddie Ljungberg as well, and maybe even for Unai Emery.
Well, he's obviously not very good in training. I mean,
well, that seems to be a way that all of the managers have suggested that maybe they don't see enough of him, you know, day to day.
It happens. I mean, I don't like it when managers only pick players on training sessions, because it's so different. And a lot of players I played with and against down the years were much better in real games than they were in training sessions. I mean, there's a load of Arsenal legends that I could name that were often quite average in training, yet you send them out there on a Saturday afternoon, they were absolutely impeccable. So not always sure I buy into that, but no, I've got no worries about Nicola Pepe. I'm excited to see him. I don't think he's lazy. I don't think he's a shirker. He will, I think, over time, adjust to the tactical demands of Mikel Arteta. And if he doesn't, then we know what's going to happen. He won't be in the first team. You're going to have to be able to defend from 1 to 11 under Arteta and deliver end products inside the final third. What I will say is that we've lacked quality in wide areas this season, particularly in recent games. Hopefully he can provide that magic missing ingredient tonight.
Manchester United, there's only 3 changes from the team that managed to beat Burnley by 2-0 last time out. Jesse Lingard comes back into the side, replacing Andreas Pereira. Aaron Wan-Bissaka returns at fullback. Ashley Young drops to the bench as Luke Shaw comes in at left-back. Young Brandon Williams is only named as a substitute after starting 4 days ago. We are just seconds away from kick-off here. Once again, another reminder that if you've been enjoying all of Arsenal Nation on Facebook, then you need to head to the Arsenal app or Arsenal's website to continue with the show. And of course, there'll be more analysis and social media reaction at half-time and at full-time. Just about to get underway. Brief thoughts on Manchester United before we start here. They have been a little bit better, haven't they? They're in their own malaise, but it's not maybe as deep as Arsenal.
No, I think that there's less to fix at Manchester United. I'm excited about the front three: Rashford, Martial and James, all in good form. Mason Greenwood, they've got a precocious talent there. In midfield, they're a bit stodgy, but the back four looks pretty solid to me. It's very settled. So no, I think that Manchester United arguably start this match as favourites, but that's not to say that Arsenal can't beat them tonight. I think that we've seen enough positives over the last 2 matches to feel that Arsenal can take 3 points here.
Our referee is Chris Kavanagh. Last time that he stood in an Arsenal game was away at Leicester earlier this season, with, of course, Leicester coming out on top. The only time he stood in a Manchester United fixture was when Manchester United were beaten on the south coast at Bournemouth earlier this season. We are